guys, think about a car brand that instantly evokes the like a wow sensation, okay? People just go, wait, wow, that just sounds mysterious and exciting and sexy. What is it? It's not Lamborghini, it's not Pagani, it's definitely not Geely or BYD. It's, of course, Maserati. And we have here the Maserati Levante GT Hybrid. And before I even start reviewing this car, you've got to be a lover of the brand, which is the biggest point to buy a Maserati, to really buy into the Levante Hybrid. Let's see why. The Levante has been around since 2016, and by this point, Maserati's design language has moved on for the better. So, in a way, this car, especially in this lower tier GT hybrid version, the smaller wheels and everything, especially with this white paint, can look a little bit dated. But look, you get the most important part of the Maserati, and it's everywhere, the badge. Starting, of course, with this gigantic Maserati trident at the front over here, and then doubled up with another logo up here. And then some more over here, over here, over here. And that's the thing, guys. This is the most baller badge. The Maserati Trident, yeah, the most baller badge in the entire car industry. Everyone just goes, wow. And the thing is, this car, you can go wow, or you might not, because you see the smaller wheels, you see the blue tinting over here, you see the white color. It might lull you into the sense that this is not really the best that Maserati have to offer. And inside over here, you have a 2-liter engine, but it costs 738,000 ringgit, which puts it in line for contention with the Range Rover Velar. But size-wise, being a European, also competing with the GLC, with the X5 PHEV, with the M Sport Pack, very nice car, and more powerful engine too. In fact, the engine here, they call it the hybrid. I'm not quite so sure. So, huge bonnet, right? But it hides a puny little 2-liter engine. But the 2-liter, a bit special, okay? Because it has a hybrid component. It's not really a hybrid because it's just a BSG, a belt starter generator like the Proton X90 has. You don't call that the X90 hybrid. You don't call the Grecale GT, which has the same engine, the Grecale GT hybrid outputs, okay? So this replaces the Levante GT from the previous generation, well, facelift, and which had 350 horsepower PS from a V6 3-liter. This has 330 PS and 450 Newton meters of torque. And it has also, interestingly, an electric supercharger to supplement all the power in the hybrid system as well. When there's no boost, electric supercharger comes on. Pretty cool. So what do you have here actually? You have basically the same platform as the Quattroporte, as the Ghibli. This is basically just an SUV version of those two cars. And it feels exactly like it over here because this car has 2 fewer cylinders than you would expect to find in a Maserati. Well, they've said that they've tuned something and engineered something to make sure that it sounds just as good. Don't really believe them. I mean, it sounds like a 4-cylinder with more bass. This looks like an interior from like 10 years ago, which it kind of is actually. So you have this center screen over here, which looks pretty okay. It's sharp and it's responsive, but it's exactly the same one that I found in the Jeep. So this is the Uconnect system, and over here you have analog dials, all the buttons and switches and everything that isn't leather, it's just plastic and kind of nasty feeling. Even the clock is kind of like an afterthought. It's so tiny, I can't even make out what time it is. So with the layout looking like it was from 10 years ago, the switchgear kind of feels like definitely not paying 700,000 plus for a certain car. You're really riding on the badge itself because the badge gives you that emotional connection. It makes you feel special. But everywhere else you touch, it's okay, but it's not special. It's a lot of plastic. And look, even the door panel over here is just plastic. This is plastic, very Proton-like. It'll break off. But then you want to change gears and you go like, wow, this is really, really cold. This is all metal, like milled aluminum pedals. Then you have the key, also metal, very heavy. Expensive, expensive, cheap-ish. And also guys, look, the first point of contact, the start button, is so fiddly like this, like you're not paying 700,000 ringgit for a car. But you are. So how's life in the back seats? Actually pretty okay. Even though this is a rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive car, you have a bit of a hump over here. Not a lot, but a reasonable amount of leg room and knee room over here. A lot of headroom for me at least. I like this microfiber feeling, micro suede headliner. You get air conditioning vents, which of course you really should. Also, you get charging and USB on a little fold out little panel. Also over here, cup holders, place to put your arms. Yeah, it's all right. So the rear of the Levante can really appreciate the pseudo, coupe roofline, quad tailpipes, one for each cylinder. Open the boot and you have a decent amount of space, So you have 580 liters, perfect for your Maserati brochure. But what does this all add up to, okay? So is this car a good SUV? Is it the Maserati of SUVs, as Maserati says themselves? They do things differently, okay? It's charming, it's a little bit different, it's left field, it's a Maserati. Like example, okay? You expect the electronic boot to have the buttons up there like every other car, but it's not. It's down here, which I actually prefer. And one more weird button about the car is that the parking brake, the E parking brake, there's only one way to push it. Usually, you engage the handbrake by pulling it and disengage it by pushing it, but you can't push down. This thing only goes pull. So let's disengage the handbrake, which I just did. Go into drive, and let's see how this Maserati handles. Maserati. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I have sat behind the wheel of a Maserati. Sounds really cool, doesn't it? Maserati. Since I sat behind the wheel of a Maserati. Maserati. So here I am, Levante GT Hybrid. That hybrid thing it's just throwing me off because it's not a hybrid, it's a mild hybrid. So every car with a mild hybrid system should be called hybrid. No. The Grecale has a 48-volt mild hybrid system, the exact engine, the exact system as this car. But they don't call it the GT hybrid, the Grecale GT hybrid. Just call it the Grecale GT, as it should be. A hybrid is you have a series hybrid, you have a parallel hybrid, you have a PHEV. That's a hybrid. This is just an electric starter, generator, belt, whatever. The engine pretty much is the same engine that you found in the Giulia TI, the Alfa Romeo Giulia TI. So it's a powerful 2-liter engine, the mild hybrid, giving it a bit of a boost, 330 PS. But it's all about the emotionality of the experience, isn't it? And the thing is, a 2-liter can never be as emotional and push the right buttons. So there are some faults with the car, right? It is not the best of build, it is not the best of value. On paper, it is just doesn't really make sense to buy the Maserati. But then you have the badge. The badge is a pretty significant one because, yeah, for some reason, Maserati just has that cachet. You say Maserati, people are impressed. Just don't say what Maserati you have. Just say, I drive blank. I drive a Peugeot. I drive BMW. I drive a Produa. I drive a Maserati. And their eyes just light up and go like, ooh, wow, Maserati. This guy, this girl, this guy must be interesting. What a different kind of level of exclusivity and panache and just, stylishness and chic, the Italian romance. Maserati. Just don't say what Maserati you drive, or at least you say Levante, full stop. Let them assume you're driving the Levante Trofeo, the Levante, I don't know, something with a big engine. So what happened to Maserati? The thing is, this car is sort of a reflection of where Maserati was at the time, because they were developing the Ghibli, the Quattroporte, and those were okay. Not really. Those were actually not very well built cars. So they had this. They were like, okay, we'll do the Porsche thing and make an SUV because SUVs sell. And we want money, we need money. So let's make an SUV. Levante came out. And it was basically a Ghibli Quattroporte on stilts. Which is fine enough, but they didn't take any of the lessons or didn't really improve upon the formula of the Ghibli or the Quattroporte. It feels, for better or worse, the same in here. Of course, this being an exotic European, Italian mark, NASA will happily let you pay however much money you want to customize this car. So please add bigger wheels, because 19 inches used to be a big size, but on a car as big as this, with arches as large as this to fill, you will end up with a sport SUV that has a really thick sidewall of a tire. That's not that great. So get 20s, 21s, and then it'll fill out the tires, they'll look properly sporty, and life will be good. And then it comes to the engine, isn't it? Because like the Macan 2.0, this has a 2-liter engine. And that is on paper the weakest link. Yes, you could say that, oh, it produces the same amount of power, or a negligible amount less than the old 3-liter V6. Not the point. The point is that I'm driving a Maserati and I don't feel special. I feel right now, I feel like I'm driving a sporty SUV, yes. But do I feel like I'm in a Maserati? No. Yeah, very sports car-like, but then you look around, things are a little bit of a mix, and that mix isn't that great, because the mix consists of some metal, namely over here. You hear that? The ching 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 ching. The pedal shifters, and that's it. I can't really point out to you anything else in this car that is obviously metal. Besides that, plastic and leather. All right. Now, I've talked about the interior and how I find this dated. I still do. But, driving it, you're looking ahead of you. You don't really notice the dated interior. It's well constructed. Over time, I have no idea how that will last. But from where I'm sitting right now, there's no rattles. The sound insulation material in here is ample. This is, a competent SUV. Is this the best Maserati could come up with? I have no idea. But I have a feeling that the Giorgio platform that is in the Grecale, that product is a more resolved car. This is a little bit of a mixed bag. But I do like it overall. I think Maserati still has the cachet. You put some nice wheels on this thing, and despite all the faults, I can't really criticize this car too much. I can only criticize it next to other cars. In a vacuum, I'm pretty happy with it, actually. It's spacious, it's comfortable, it's got air suspension, so it's actually quite comfortable. You can get low and look pretty sporty. It's decently fast. The turbo hybrid 4-cylinder isn't really what I would choose. I would definitely take the fuel economy hit and just get the 3-liter V6, no matter what the spec was, and no matter how much, how much extra fuel I would be consuming. I don't care. I want the Maserati experience, and it just isn't quite here. But if you're going to be using this car only occasionally as, something fun, maybe for just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of the day, just put your foot down, put a smile on your face, that's fine. Most of the time, this is an SUV. This is a family car. So you'll be doing school runs, you'll be doing trips to the office and back, boring stuff. And does it do the boring stuff well? Yeah, it does actually. It's comfortable, it's refined, the infotainment system is good, speakers are good, safety is decent, visibility is good, it's easy to maneuver, all the basic things that I would want my sporty SUV to do day to day as a daily driver, it does, and does pretty well. Now, would cheaper cars do it better? Yes, it would, because this, no matter how much I can try to squeeze it, it doesn't really make sense to spend 740,000 ringgit on a car like this. It is objectively good, but other cars will objectively beat it for much less money. So you really have to love the Maserati brand. You really have to want to own a Maserati. And you know what? Audis, BMWs, Benzes, they are everywhere. And if you really wanted to buy something for you and treat yourself and be able to say that I drive a Maserati, then there is no substitute. Maybe just by the Grecale, I think. So what do we think about the Maserati Levante GT Hybrid? I like it, but it's faulty. It's not faulty as a car, but it just has faults that really doesn't make it that much of an attractive product. If you're buying an SUV, you can spend way less than 740K on a better SUV on paper. And this thing on paper doesn't make sense, but when I drive it, I really like it. It's left field, I like the look of it even though it's a bit dated. I like the interior even though it's a bit plasticky, pretty plasticky actually. But there's just something about it that just makes me feel a bit special because I guess it's so rare. Maseratis are still special, even though I could argue it's just the badge.